A very good morning, students. Welcome to online lecture series on remote sensing and GIS. So today we will be starting a new uh, topic, that is your digital image processing. So I welcome all the learners, and I hope that you all are enjoying this remote sensing and GIS lectures. So let's start with the today topic, that is digital image processing. Today we will start the digital image processing. How do we process the images acquired from the airborne or spaceborne sensors? So in this digital image processing, there are many different uh, elements which are included. Right. So first of all, let us see those elements. So these are basically the elements of digital image processing techniques. If we go one by one, then it is image correction, image enhancement, image transformation, feature selection, classification, change detection, and then their applications. So one of them is image correction, then image enhancement, then image transformation, feature selection, classification, change detection. And why we do all those things? Because we want to apply or use these images in our application, right? So slowly, we will get it into this image processing. But before that, I guess, do you remember that images which are captured by satellite, they are actually captured in different wavelengths. ठीक है, तो हम सबको पता है कि जो भी images कैप्चर होते हैं सैटेलाइट के द्वारा, वो डिफरेंट वेवलेंथ में कैप्चर किए जाते हैं, राइट? नाउ लेट अस proceed forward. So for an individual area, you have many images in different wavelengths, right? So here you have already seen this one, right? So for the same area, you have different bands. So here, for example, band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4, band 5, right? So this will be band 5, and they are captured in the blue wavelength. Okay, so these are captured in the blue wavelength, green wavelength, red, NIR, and SWR. So their information is different. But this we are looking individually. But suppose if you like to see these images in color composite, so how do you generate this color composite? So you have to understand the basic fundamental of this. So first of all, for any kind of display, you have three primary colors. और वो तीन primary colors क्या हैं? Blue, green, and red, right? And all the colors which you are seeing, that is the combination of these three, right? That is blue, green, and red. So how do we represent or how do we visualize these black and white images separately into a color image? So ultimately, we want to see something like this, where the red represents some X material, blue represents some Y material. So how do we represent this one? And that we need to understand first. Okay, so just wait a second. So how do we display the remotely sensed images? There are three different concepts. Let us see the concepts. There are three different concepts. पहला है false color composite, दूसरा है natural color composite और तीसरा है gray scale images. So first of all, let us understand what do you mean by this color composite. इस color composite से आप क्या समझते हैं? So color composite is used to display any satellite image in color. We need to select the image band corresponding to red, green, and blue colors of our monitor or any display system, right? So let us assume that you have a display system, right? And you have only three bands captured in the different wavelengths. So here let us assume that you have a blue wavelength band, that green wavelength band, and red wavelength band, right? So to make it more clear, this is the wavelength of 0.4 to 0.5 micrometer, right? And this is 0.5 to 0.6 micrometer, and this is 0.6 to 0.7 micrometer. So now you have three images captured from the satellite data or satellite sensor
in our normal or regular monitor, but in color composition, right? So here
what we do, we assign blue band to blue color of the monitor or blue band of the image to green or blue to red. So this is the flexibility you will have. So you will have to select which band you want to represent in blue color or green color or red color. So if you have such flexibility and if you are displaying the same image, those images like combined images, color images, they are known as color composite. Okay? So now we will see what do we mean by false color composite or natural color composite and grayscale images, right? So already we have covered this color composite, then false color composite, natural color composite, and gray scale images. So false color composite means your color will not represent exactly how they look like in the nature. Okay? And in natural color composite, it will have the similar color as they appear on the ground. And in grayscale image, what will happen? You will have no color, only black to white, then range you will have. This there is some conversion which we need to follow to call them or call this color in composite to false color composite, natural color composite or grayscale image. ठीक है? Standard false color composite, let us assume that again we have three band. हमारे पास तीन band है. So यहाँ पे हमारे पास तीन band दिख रहे हैं. So first band is green band, right? And you have different band, different types of display system. Here we have monitor and we are having blue gun, red gun, and green gun, right? So these three color guns we have in our monitor, and these are the images captured from satellite. Now, if we are going to call this FCC or a standard FCC, we need to assign the green wavelength to blue color of our monitor and red color to green and near infrared wavelength to red. Strictly, if you are following this convention, then only they are qualified to call as a standard false color composite. Otherwise, they will have different name. We will see that. Now, here I have not included any blue band. Why? Because in blue band, you have more scattering. So always we try to ignore this blue band. If we are not interested to study some materials which are sensitive or thick peak absorption feature, right? They are away from the blue band. So in this case, here we are using green, red, and near infrared. So wait a second. So if you display your image using this standard convention where we are assigning green to blue, red to green, near infrared to red, then your image will appear something like this. Here we have assigned near infrared to red light. Here you can remember, so here all the red colors are basically IR. Now do you remember that vegetation curve? That it was something like this, and this is basically SWIR. Now this is 0.7 micrometer. Okay, so you have assigned red color to this particular band, so your vegetation will appear in red because they are having maximum reflectance in this particular area. So that is why if you have used a standard false color composite display, then red color of your image will be essentially representing vegetation and blue will be your water. Blue or black will be water, and if you are settlement, it will be in cyan color. So that is the definition of this standard false color composite. And how do we represent this one? Sometime I will show you how we select these bands in the display so that it will appear in the different colors, right? Now let us see what do you mean by natural color composite. So as I told you, in natural color composite, it will be something similar how they appear on the ground. So in this case, just look at this. Again, we have हमारे पास क्या है? Blue, green, and red. And here we have included this blue band, green band, and red, right? And again, this display system will have similar guns like blue, green, and red guns. Now, if you are assigning blue to blue, green to green, and red to red, then they are known as natural color composite. So here, basically, we are assigning same color to the same wavelength. That is why it is known as natural color composite. अब एक आपको image दिखाता हूं. So if you see this image, it is very similar to how they appear on the ground with our eyes. ठीक है? So we can also see blue, green, and red. And here also we are using blue, green, and red. So that is why it will appear more closer how they appear on the ground with our eyes, right? But in the false color composite, what we did, we have included infrared band. So that is why the infrared information we cannot see, but the instrument can measure. So that flexibility we have with the remote sensing, which we cannot have with our naked eyes. So that is why in a standard false color composite, red color was representing vegetation, but here the green color will represent vegetation. ठीक है? और अगला जो था वो है ग्रे स्केल इमेज, जो मैंने इंट्रोडक्शन में मेंशन किया. सो हाउ डू वी रिप्रेजेंट? बिकॉज अगर आपको याद हो, वी हैव 3 कलर गन्स अवेलेबल इन आवर सिस्टम, राइट? बट हाउ डू वी रिप्रेजेंट आवर इमेज इनटू ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट? सो व्हाट वी डू, we will assign the same matrix or the same image in blue, green, and red. So if you do that, then your image will be black and white. So higher the value, they will appear the brighter. Lower the value, they will appear the darker. So here you can see the same image I have displayed in black and white. So this is known as grayscale image. So if you use any freeware or commercially available remote sensing software, there you will have this flexibility to select which band you want to represent or display in blue color, green color, or red color. Okay, so if you are going for a standard FCC, you have to select green in blue, red in green, and infrared in red. So then your vegetation will appear in red. In grayscale, all the colors will be assigned to same image. So then it will be black and white. Okay. Now, wait a So why do we do this in digital image enhancement or digital image processing? So basically the idea is the raw remotely sensed images often have poor visible appearance due to poor brightness and contrast of the image. Why? Because of the different atmospheric components, maybe instrument related things, but we can remove that using this image processing technique. Okay, so you can see this is one of the image, and sometimes you might have come across with the similar problem. If you take the photograph, the contrast brightness is not good for that.
Okay, so sometimes it may appear like this, sometime like this, and sometimes like this. So it depends on how good your camera is, how good your ambience is, how good your atmosphere is. So they play a very significant role in acquiring these images.
Now you can just imagine this is a problem you are facing with the normal camera, but when you are sitting in that space and from there if you are taking the photograph, then what will happen? There are lots of things which are playing significant role and they are producing the error. So these images should be processed with some logic. ठीक है, and so those logic we will see, वो logics हम देखते हैं. So what do you mean by contrast? Contrast से आप क्या समझते हैं? Contrast is the difference in the intensity of the object of interest compared to the background. So always we say that this is very bright. And why do we say it is very bright? Because the background is very dark. Okay? If the background is also very bright, then you will not find that brightness in your target. So there is a change in the intensity, and with respect to background, then only this contrast concept is coming into the picture. So contrast does not change linearly. So if you see any image or when you are seeing something, some object or in a room, then you can see or you can find the edges, and those edges are basically because of the contrast. Okay. So contrast with the background. If you don't have that contrast, you will not find that line or that edge very prominent, right? And it is a function of the algorithm of the difference in the object and background intensity. So this means that in the darker region, small changes in intensity can be noticed, but in a brighter region, the difference has to be much more. Okay? Because you just imagine this particular slide is empty. There is nothing written here. And then you have drawn a line, then you can easily see this line. But if the whole background is of the same color, then what will happen? क्या होगा? You will not find it. Or if I make this line or of a little bit of the white shade, white to black shade, then what will happen? Your visibility or the perception will change. So that is the point. So it is saying in the darker region, small changes in intensity can be noticed, but in the brighter region, the difference has to be much more bright. So here you can see this is, ये तो एक example हो गया. Now here just compare with the first photograph and just observe this. Observe this particular part of this photograph. In the particular image, there is nothing visible here, right in the center of the circle. But as you change the brightness, और आपने brightness change किया and contrast of your photograph, this will be very prominent. So what it says that if you are having the brighter image, then you need very strong line or the difference should be more. But if it is dark, then lighter intensity can be noticed. So with respect to the image, how do we apply different logics to enhance the contrast? So that depends on us. What is our decision? How do we perform, or how do we want to perform this particular logic? That logic we will discuss after this. So how do we perform? कैसे हम perform करते हैं? So either it can be global, local, or a point operation, and that is uniform, then it is global. If you want to enhance a particular portion of the image, then that will be local. But if you want to perform any enhancement for a particular pixel, then that will be point, right? So that is the definition of this global, local, and point operation. And here you have freedom to use or apply the different logic. So global operation में क्या होता है? We do not consider the location of the image pixel. Location का मतलब you are having having an image. An image is basically DN number, and basically this is a matrix. So how do we define the position of a matrix element? So using Cartesian coordinate. So first, if we are starting some algorithm here, then if we are moving, then we will add +1 in this direction, right? So, but if you are applying the same logic for the whole image, then we do not consider location. So here G equals to H or F. So H क्या है? H is any operation of the image. F, right, where local operation also consider pixel location in processing. So in local operation, we need to define which area you want to process or you want to enhance. So you need to define what is the location of this, and this pixel. Then only this will qualify under this local operation, and local operation are important when the illumination condition is different across the image. So if you have an image and you find this particular area is having some haziness or it is not of very good contrast, but in this area, if you divide this into 3 or and this area requires little processing and this area does not require anything, right? So then what you will do? You will define the pixels position of this, and here you and you will say that this logic, since this requires strong processing, then I will use this location to this location. Okay, but here in this case it will start from here to here and you need to process, right? So that is the advantage when you are going for local or global operation. In point operation, basically it is used to enhance any particular pixel based on their gray level. So you can find or you can say that or those pixels which are having this gray number or digital number, and then process it, right? And if you want to identify a particular pixel and then you want to run an algorithm, so that is possible only with the operation. Okay. Okay. So in this slide, we'll see the concept about the linear contrast stretch. So in linear contrast stretching, basically it says remotely sensed images with poor contrast will have less gray levels than the display range of the display system. So here, when you are having an image and basically this image is a matrix and a matrix elements are basically your digital numbers, and then for this particular matrix, we can easily generate a histogram. So here this will be dear number and this is the frequency. Okay. So you can find out there may be certain unique numbers and this is the histogram distribution, right? So, but it is not necessary that you will have or the image will acquire the full range of the display system or full range of the radiometric resolution. So when you are using this 8-bit data, then this will become 0 to 25. So it is possible, or it is always seen in the remotely sensed images, that when you are using this 0 to 255, right, your histogram will be something like this, or it can be like this, right? So what is happening here? Basically, you are not occupying this 0 to 255 full range. So here this is empty. There is no data here. So all the values are 0 to maybe let us say 200. So all the values of your image are basically starting from 0. So what it says is when you are not occupying this particular range, your image, if it is this side or this side, depending upon the value, it may be lighter or darker, right? So that is the reason you need to perform a linear stretching. So what will happen? You are going to take this particular value or this particular value and you are going to stretch this whole. So it will appear like this. So then it will use or utilize the full available range of the display system, right? So if you see here, the O max, O minimum minus O max minus O minimum is basically greater than I max minus I minimum, where I is your input image and O is the output image, right? So if this is the condition, what will happen? Output image will be like greater than this. So range will be more in this output image. So there is a concept called positive and negatively skewed histogram. So here you can see if an image is positively skewed or negatively skewed. So what does it mean? So basically it says in negatively skewed histogram, the values are actually in the higher range, right? So let us say 0 to 220, 255. This is again 0 to 255. So if the values are more in the higher range, your image will be more brighter. If it is positively skewed histogram, then your values are in the lower range. So your image will be darker, but in both the case, image is not having a good contrast. Why? Because it is not a standard histogram. So if it would have been like this, then image will be better. So here low contrast images can be linearly enhanced using different contrast stretching techniques. So that we will see in the subsequent slide. So the linear contrast stretching can be defined as this. When you are using this Y, we are going to calculate O max minus O minimum. What is your output image range you want, and then I max minus I minimum, that is your input maximum and minimum DN number value, right? So here if you apply this one, you can easily calculate what is the Y value and what is the Y and Y is the output value. Now if your whole value, if you plot this O max, O minimum and I max, I minimum, then this I minimum is having this difference, right? So then what it does indicate, so if M is greater than 1, that indicates it is stretching. If M is less than 1, that indicates it is compression. So in both the cases, you need to apply this contrast stretching, and I is input image, O is output, and M is the slope of the line. So this is very simple. Just you have to perceive all the information in terms of images and not the images. How we perceive images, it is basically a matrix and consists of the digital number. Now this you can try. So if O max equals to 256, O minimum equals to 1, I max equals to 186, and I minimum equals to 0. So I max and I minimum has been calculated or estimated from your image matrix for x equals to 55 and 200. What will be the y value? So you can easily use this particular formula and calculate what will be the y value, right? So y will be the new stretched value for the 55 and 200. So you will get two values for both of them. Okay. Now, see, here you can see the difference before processing and after processing in these examples. Like here you have the input panchromatic image. So panchromatic, or you can call it grayscale image. So if input gray image and when it is linearly contrast, right? Linearly contrast stretching has been applied, then it appears like this. So you can easily uh, you can see see easily what is the advantage when you are using linear contrast stretching, right? But remember, when you are going for a quantitative analysis, you are not supposed to do this. Why? Because you will be relying on the absorption trough position, right? You remember that here, suppose this is a spectra for a given pixel in a hyperspectral or multispectral image, and based on this particular position, we say that this is a X material. But what if we have applied the linear contrast stretching? Then you will have different number for this, right? Maybe the spectra shape will remain same after processing, but the value will change. So you cannot estimate what is the value or the composition of this particular pixel. So this is only used when you are going for a qualitative analysis. Now I will show you one more example. This is another example where you have input FCC image, and this is the output linearly contrast image, right? So you can easily see this difference. Okay, now see, now negative of image. So all these are different methods of how we play with this digital number. So negative of an image is basically the inverse of the image gray level with respect to the image quantization level. So image quantization level is basically you have a 8-bit data, then you will use 255 or 256 as your higher value, right? And here O max x is equal to your y. So O max is basically 255 when you are having 8-bit data, right? But in case if your radiometric resolution is different, then O max value will be different. So here you can see the difference, and just remember, see the changes here. So here you can see that is the original image. This this particular area was a brighter, but now here you have a darker portion, right? So why it happened? Because it is just the negative of the image, because we are subtracting with the maximum value of your image quantization level. So that gives you the inverted image, right? Not inverted negative of the image. Inverted is something like flip. Okay. So So here this is another example where you can see the difference. So here you can see this particular area, and this particular area, it is just negative of each other with respect to the highest quantization level. So these methods are basically linear methods where we are assuming that contrast and brightness are changing linearly. But what if we do not have such condition? And in nature, we always find that we do not have any linear relationship in the contrast or brightness, right? So what we do, then अभी तक हम linear stretching के लिए जा रहे थे. Then we'll go for the non-linear stretching. Okay. And here in the non-linear stretching, there are few good example like films. So in films, you can see the contrast, and then computer monitor, you can see all the lines, boundaries, edges very clearly. So that means it is giving you good contrast, and good contrast in terms of non-linear system. And then television, human visual system. So these are the very good example of non-linear system. To analyze the object in remotely sensed image, linear contrast stretching techniques are not very useful. So why we have already discussed, then let us start at the non-linear stretching. So this is the very first method, which is called logarithmic stretch. So it is a non-linear technique where the low range brightness is enhanced. The logarithmic stretch is useful for enhancing the features lying in the darker parts of the original image. So basically what is happening here, if you want to identify some features which are in the darker area, then this logarithmic stretch are useful. So this is the general expression of your logarithmic stretch. And what is the nature of the curve, log curve? So it rises rapidly and level of letter. So it can give you a very good result in terms for a smaller gray level, greater the difference. For larger gray levels, smaller the difference, right? So these kind of results you can expect when you are applying a logarithmic stretch. Okay. Now, in case of the logarithmic stretch, the results of the logarithmic stretch can be seen here. इस slide में, ठीक है? So there are few examples. So here, this is one image, which is a raw image, directly captured from the satellite, and you have this in your system, right? So here you can see this image as of now, it looks good. But what if we want to identify some features in the darker portion of this image? So what we will do? We'll apply logarithmic stretch, and you can see the difference. So here, previously, this particular pattern, which is highlighted in this box, was not seen. You can see again. So this is the example, right? So here you can see in the darker portion, the information is getting enhanced, or you are getting more information in the darker portion of the image. So in case if you are interested in such areas, then definitely you have to go for the logarithmic stretch. And this is another example. Here you can see after logarithmic stretch, and you just compare this and this image and just see that a small water body, right? Now I am going back and again see this one. There is a change in the area or the information which is available here, right? So hopefully these examples will help you to perceive the logarithmic stretch results in remotely sensed images. So the next is exponential stretch. So exponential stretch is the opposite of log stretch and enhance the details in the brighter portion of the grayscale. So in the previous one, what happened? In the darker portion, we have highlighted the information, but here in exponential stretch, we want to highlight or we want to extract some information which is not available in raw data using this exponential stretch. So the exponential curve rises much faster for higher values of the argument of exponential of x, right? So here you can see the result of exponential stretch, right? And see this particular area. So here basically these were the brighter portion of your image, and again it is preserving and highlighting those information which were hidden in the raw data. So this is the example of exponential stretch. Now this is another example where you can easily see what is happening here, and here you can just see, here you just compare this particular area, and here it is brighter and this is nothing seen much. So if you see this one, there is not more information. So this is the advantage of exponential stretch. Okay, now let us see piecewise enhancement. The image gray levels or the image gray scale is divided into several sub ranges. So how we can do this? By using the histogram. So different enhancement techniques may be applied to each sub range. It requires prior knowledge of the gray levels, right, of the object. This is the histogram generated from a remotely sensed image, and here you can see this particular histogram is having different slope and different portions, right, and which indicate there is a range of values which are starting from here to here, right? So we can select this to this particular dn value, and you can apply either logarithmic or exponential negative, right, or linear stretching. In this particular, you have freedom to apply. So how you will do that? You will have an image, you have generated a histogram, right, like this, and you have selected this is the range of value I want to enhance, right? So when you are doing that, you have to write one algorithm, and you will say that starting are the values ranging between this to this, right? This to this. Use linear stretching or negative image or exponential image, right? Or logarithmic function, and then you will have result accordingly. So thresholding में क्या करते हैं? In thresholding, what we do is we provide threshold of the dn values, and we make different classes. So here a threshold for the output gray levels are used to map or highlight a particular object. So instead of identifying it using some different techniques, this is one of the techniques where we say that this is my target, and the value range of this particular object is ranging from 10 to 70, right? So my T threshold value will be greater than 10, or maybe between 10 to 70. So this kind of logic we are using in thresholding, and this flexibility so my T threshold So my T threshold value will be like greater than 10 or maybe 10 to 70. Okay. So here you can just go through it and you will find that this method is very good. And when you are having the prior knowledge of the object and you know what will be the reflectance value range for that particular object. So एक मैं आपको example दिखाता हूँ. So see, so this is one of the example of thresholding where this is the raw data, right? And when you are applying T equals to 48, so maybe you can select 100 or 100, 1000x or 2, 3, 4. T is equal to any number, right? Depending upon your application and result. So here what you can do is you can select a natural distribution and you can say equally distribute this whole value range of this particular image into 48 parts, right? And then accordingly from white to black, 48 colors or sets will be generated and each range will be assigned to that color, right? So you can see here, I will show you some examples in density slicing where you can see how we are assigning different colors for this 48 because 48 assigning color is very difficult or for us, but system can do it. It can give you different color sets into 48,000 seconds or maybe many more sets. Okay, so this is one image where there is no thresholding has been applied. This is there is the raw data. Now after applying the thresholding, so here T equals to 48. So 48 I have given threshold. So after 48 everything is here, right? So this kind of logic you can use to highlight a certain value range of the DN value or only for that particular DN number, right? So this is one example of thresholding where this is the raw data, right? And when you are applying T equals to 48, so maybe you can select 100, 1000 sets or 2, 3, 4 T is equal to any number, right? Depending upon your application and the result. Here what you can do is you can select natural distribution, and you can say equally distribute this whole value range of this particular image into 48 parts. Okay? And then accordingly from white to black, 48 colors or sets will be generated, and each range will be assigned to that color. Okay? So you can see here, I will show you some example in the density slicing where you can see how we are assigning the different colors for this 48, because 48 assigning color is very difficult for us, but system can do it. It can give you different color sets in 48,000 sets or maybe many more sets. This is another image. So this is another image where there is no thresholding has been applied. There is the raw data. Now after applying the thresholding, so here t equals to 48. So 48 I have given threshold. So after 48 everything is here, right? So this kind of logic you can use to highlight a certain value range of the DN number or only for that particular DN number, right? Now we'll move to density slicing. In density slicing, what happens? We provide different ranges, like this is the advanced form of thresholding technique. So what we do from this particular histogram, we can identify the different range of the values, right? And we can simply split them into different classes. So you can say, I want 100 classes from this image, right? And they are equally distributed. So depending upon the range of the value, it will be decided, or it can be like different ranges and different thresholding techniques. So let us see one example. So this is one example here. This is the raw image where you have this particular histogram, and you can see this histogram if you select only this particular value range, right? Then what will happen? Only this value, DN values will be highlighted. Okay. So accordingly, you can make different sectors, and you can say that is, this is my first class, this is second class, third class, fourth class, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and rest is 9. So you can do that, but provided you should have some objective. So you should know that what is your intention, what is your application, and what information you require from this particular remotely sensed image. So here, this is the density slicing of this particular image, and here I have used 6 classes. So 6 classes of the same image, depending upon my application, I have selected some value range, and this is the result, right? Let us go another example to another example. This is another example where you have raw data, and this is the density sliced into 5 classes. So you can see that this particular area and this particular area are getting mixed here. Just compare this one, right? So, but it is highlighting this particular river channel with flood plains. So depending upon your application, you may increase the number of the classes here, and you can get better results. So first decide what you want from this, and then identify or fix the classes, then find out the value range of your object lying in the different classes, and then apply this density slicing. So this is very easy, but it will give you very good results. So all these methods which we have discussed till now, they are basically directly applied on the image. So we do not have any backup, right? So what we do here in this lookup table, we generate a matrix or we generate a lookup table, and whatever calculation you are doing, you do it in the lookup table, and then you will have original as well as the output, both will be saved here, there. So in any point of the time, if you want to go back to your original image, it is always possible. So in this method, the contrast enhancement operations are implemented using lookup table of the input image, right? And advantage original image information is preserved in the lookup table. So here you can see that input and output values are saved, and in between you have your methods. So what methods you have used? So any point of time you can go back to your original image. So you do not have to keep a backup of your image. Now see. Now let us see the histogram based enhancement technique. Histogram equalization is one of the best, or I would say it is one of the very good methods in non-linear stretching, and this is based on the histogram equalization or histogram stretching, depending upon the application, right? So dynamic range of gray levels are preferred for better display. So here, what it says is you have a histogram like this of our image, right? But it is not showing this particular information, which is missing in the acquisition itself. So another example, you have look in this particular histogram, you have occupied the full range of this radiometric resolution, and it is having all the peaks and troughs here, right? So it indicates your image will be better. Why better? Because it has first occupied the full range and it is dynamic in nature. It is not contrast, like truly it is having one peak and it is showing you the result. So it is having dynamic range, right? The next point is in histogram equalization. Image is transformed in such a way that all the gray levels have equal likelihood of occurrence. So here it says equal likelihood of occurrence. So all the DN numbers, it does not matter whether they are very low or they are very high, they will have equal chances of getting displayed, right? So that is the advantage when you are applying this histogram equalization. So histogram based enhancement technique consider the relative frequency of the occurrence of the gray level, and high frequency gray level should be given preferential treatment so that they should be well separated on the gray scale for better display quality. So you might be remembering from the previous slide. So in the brighter portion, you need high contrast. Okay, so you need more value in the intensity so that your difference will be visible. But in darker portion, if you are having very less difference, that is also seen. So that is why it gives preferential treatment so that they are separated on the gray scale, right? For the brighter portion, or here it is saying high frequency optimizes the utilization of the available display range, and it optimizes the histogram. So that 0 to 255, the whole range is used in the display, right? And merges gray level having very few pixels and very few pixel value DN values, because what happens sometimes in your image, there are few pixel only, like DN number, maybe 10, and the frequency of this DN number 10 is basically maybe 4 or 5. So do you really need to worry about those 4, 5 pixels? No, about out of the 1000 by 1000 pixels, you have 4 pixels or 5 pixels of the DN value. So that is not going to matter. So what happens here? It merges the gray level having very few pixels and separates heavily populated gray levels. That is very important, right? Because it is doing the high frequency gray level separation. So, so an ideal histogram will be equal population of all gray levels. So if you can get a histogram like this, then it is the best. So all the DN values are having similar frequency, right? This is the frequency, but this is not possible in nature, and it is not available in nature, and it is not possible with any remote sensing instrument or with our eyes, because it depends on how much energy they have reflected or emitted from the surface, right? So this is the input histogram before the histogram equalization, and this is the output histogram. So what happened? It is occupied in the output. This range has been used, which was not used here, right? I hope this is clear to you. Now, see, so here what we do, we use this particular method and we identify the output value, right? And here, and where CDF is cumulative distribution function, and M and N is the image number of the pixel, and L is the quantization level. So in 8-bit, 16-bit, this value will keep on changing. So this is one example. I'm going to show the solution where we are having an image DN value, and this is basically an image, but I am looking on the values, right? And this histogram appears something like this. Now, when we are having this image and this histogram, how we will apply this particular formula, right? So what we do, first of all, we need to identify unique DN values from the image or from that matrix. So these are the unique DN values, right? And here also it is in the continuation, right? So it starts from 43 and ends in 75. So remember that this is 8-bit data. So your flexibility should be 0 to 255, but it was occupied only. It has occupied only 43 to 75. That means 0 to 42 and 76 to 255 is still available to you, right? So what we do, we identify how many times 43 has occurred in that matrix, right? So 43 occurred 2 times, 44 also 245 1 time, and accordingly you can see these values, right? Then CDF क्या होगा? CDF आपका cumulative है. So you start from this to then 2 to 4, 4 to 5, like that. You have to calculate all the CDF values, right? And then once you are having that, then you can simply use this particular formula and you can calculate your output value here. So here this is equalized value. Now see, this is the example of histogram equalization. This is one image, and once we apply the histogram equalization, the image will look like this. I have one more example. So I have one more example for you, like this one image, and this is the output. The another example is this. So this is another image, and this is the output. So this is the method which are going to use in your research. Also, because linear contrast stretching is not very useful always, but non-linear algorithms are better, because in nature we have non-linear behavior. So always you have to go for the non-linear, and specifically the histogram equalization method, which is based on the lookup table approach. And this is one of the good methods, right? So this is another example you can see here. So this is all for the day. So this is example.